Hello, guys. Good morning to you all. And it's Saturday again. And here is my trade recap for the week that just closed or for the week that just ended. Let's quickly dive into it. I'm on my GBPUSD chart for our chart. So, if you remember very well, I called out a trade, or rather, I called out a buy opportunity, a buy bias on GBPUSD. I then said the reason why I was buying is because my confidence they came together, and that's definitely giving me an edge to go into the market to buy. So what happened was, as you can clearly see from my 4 hour time frame, you can clearly see I've marked out the high of the week and low of the week. So what I was anticipating on this day, this particular day, whereby I said it was a buy signal, or rather it was a buy opportunity, like I said, I saw a W pattern being formed on top of the psychological level, on top of the low of the week, and then that gave me, and also saw a price action, a W pattern being formed also, which gave me 3/4 conferences, which I usually take a trade or place a trade whenever this happens. So from the 4 hour time frame, let's dive into the intermediate time frame being 1 hour time frame. So what do we see now? So from this level, you can clearly see I was buying from this level, which I said definitely was the first entry position, and then definitely around this level was the second level entry position as well. So this is my intermediate time frame, which is the 1 hour. So I was buying, placing my stop loss below the low that price came to, then was targeting the high that price got to by price, looking left. So this is my 1 hour. So from my 15 minutes, let's see what happens also. So from the 15 minutes, which was the time frame I used to execute the trade. Like I usually say, I do my analysis from 4 hour time frame and then fall down to my intermediate and see if the 1 hour is correlating with what the 4 hour is saying. So then I then have to fall down to my 15 minutes to execute the trade. So if you remember very well on this particular day, I said here was the second entry position. Here was the second entry position to go in for a buy trade on GBPUSD. So what happened? So which I definitely executed. Then price eventually came back, and then what happened? We saw a break above the psychological level and high of the week. So the high of the week definitely shows that price was definitely going to push to the upside. But what happened? The momentum changed, and we saw an SL being hit on GBPUSD. We got stopped out on SL, so that was what happened on GBPUSD. So eventually, price failed to create new highs, or rather, price failed to surge into the high trade or high bias. So what happened was we saw price failing to create new highs. We saw price eventually weakening and then stopping us out on GBPUSD. So that was definitely what happened from my GBPUSD on the bias I called at that day or what I was anticipating that day. So that was what happened really on GBPUSD. So on gold, so let's jump into gold. On my 4 hour time frame on gold, so this was definitely what happened on gold. Let's see what really happened on gold. So on gold, what we observed was we saw price failing to create new highs. From this day, if you remember very well, I definitely was on a buy on gold. I was on a buy on gold because I saw a buy bias. I saw market structure being formed. So what happened? So on this particular day, which you can clearly see, I definitely placed the stop loss below the low, looking left. So what happened? Price created the new low, stopped me out, and created the new low. So what happened? Stopped me out, and then what did you see? We saw price now pushing to the upside. We saw price eventually almost hitting take profit, if not hitting the take profit. So we saw price eventually hitting almost the take profit. Then that was what happened on gold. We got stopped out on last week trade, or rather the other week. We saw that the SL was hit on gold as well. I posted that as well. Go watch it to see. And then this week that just coded, we got gold also. We got stopped out on gold before price eventually started moving in our direction. So that's definitely what it was all about. My trading week was all about. We went in for a buy trade on gold, and then we went in for a buy trade on GBPUSD, which both hit SL for the week that just closed. So at the end of the day, for me, it's okay for me to definitely have my bias being hit by SL, it's also okay for me not to allow or have my trade play out the way I anticipated. Because one thing for sure about trading is you have to come into the market with your edge. You need to come into the market with your analysis. After doing your analysis, with your strategy, trade what you definitely know and what you've been trading. So for me, after seeing all this setup and these biases as well, eventually they never played out the way anticipated. They never played out the way anticipated. So that is also fine by me, because every time on trading, you're never going to win all the time. You're always going to have your SL being hit, and at some point, even have your trade go to the direction where your SL has been hit. So at this point in time, trading is all about taking what the market gives you, executing on your trade when you found your confluences. So on this trade day, a typical example, found my confluences on gold, executed on my trade, but it definitely didn't play out. I got stopped out, which was also very fine, because at the end of the day, you just need to be okay with losing and not having your trade play out the way you wanted. So on GBPUSD as well, what happened again? We saw confluences as well, but what happened? We also got hit by SL after we saw what we saw. So we got hit by SL, so which is also fine by me, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to win all the time. But the fact remains that I do have an edge, and my edge also gives me very good ratio reward, which means on every trade I definitely take, even if it's a losing streak, definitely I'm still going to be profitable. So that's how I literally trade, because my risk ratio reward is quite significant and is reasonable as well. So that's why on every setup, on every bias I see, I tend to execute on my trade without panicking, without fearing, because I do understand one thing for sure. I do have an edge, and that's why I definitely took this trade for the week that just closed. So if you do love how I analyze my trade, how I analyze my pairs, if you love how I trade, how I break my pairs down, I want you to go hit the subscribe button. I want you to like, comment for more.